Test 1, 2, 3. All right, so it is now time for another edition of the pre-market post game with yours truly, Dex the Algo Capitalist, aka the Vulcan, coming to you live from PulseWaveTrading.com, home of the world famous price trigger reports. That's right, folks. The most accurate, deadly accurate, precise method mode of trading. If you're going to be trading any kind of market, I don't care if it's stocks or forex or futures or cryptocurrencies, you're going to need the algo capitalist. You're going to need the post-wave price trigger reports. And you can only get those at PulseWaveTrading.com. All right, so we're live. We're back. We're in full effect. And we're kicking things off here this morning. It's Monday, April the 20th, 2020. And already things are popping off. Over the weekend, President started, running his chops again, talking about everybody can come out and play now. All right, no more indoor recess. I don't buy it. I don't believe it. And you couldn't prove it by me. I'm sorry. Things just don't go away that quickly, especially when you're saying two different things out of the side of your mouth. All right, you can't talk out of your mouth and your neck at the same time. But that's exactly what we have going on here. So on one hand, they're suspending passports. So if you do not have a passport or your passport has expired and you need to renew your passport, it ain't gonna happen. All right, they made that announcement over the weekend. So how can you say it's safe to go out and play, but then you're shutting down the passports? You don't want nobody to leave the country. All right, so that's A. B, there were reportings of more coronavirus cases all throughout the country. All right, especially here in the DMV, Northern Virginia. Seems like they get a couple of hundred cases every day. So I don't know what they're talking about that it's safe to go outside and play. And plus, how can you say that when you had New York and New Jersey under curfews and whatnot? What's up with that? And then if that wasn't bad enough, you got Sam's Club and you got Wawa putting up signs telling people they can't come inside the building unless they are masked up. If you're not masked up or face covered, all right, like you're part of the untouchables in India, you can't come in the building. And if you don't do it, you're also looking at fines and you're looking at imprisonment. And they put these up on the glass at the Wawa stations and at Sam's Club. And guess where this was posted at? It was posted in Pennsylvania. So with that being said, how can you say it's safe to come out and play when you got, corporations putting up these notices? And they didn't say federal mandate. They said local government mandate. So this is at the state level. They're threatening to lock people up for going outside without some type of face covering like an untouchable. All right, so you got to be straight up gloved up, masked up. You got to look like Cobra Commander when you leave the house. And if you don't, you could be locked up. All right, so it doesn't make any sense. So I don't think we're free to play. I don't think it's safe to come outside. All right, I think Jason Voorhees is still out there wielding his machete, just waiting for people to stick their head out so he can chop it off. All right, don't stick your head out the window, folks. Don't go outside and play in the woods. It ain't safe. All right, it's just not safe. All right, it is what it is. All right, so I think that we have a lot of, truth that needs to come out, put it that way. Truth right now is at a premium. It's not coming out. They're making sure you don't get any truth. And we still haven't had an open public debate on the issue. All right. Instead, what they've done is they passed laws saying that it's illegal, basically, to even talk about the subject. And if you do, they can take you off of social media and they can lock you up for that too. All right. So everybody wants to filter truth, all right, under the filter of the talking points of the federal government. That is not news. And they've already successfully, in my opinion, made it so that anything that is not coming out of the mainstream media is automatically branded, labeled, and considered fake news, unreliable. Unless channel 4, 5, 7, 9, unless they say it's true, it ain't true. If it ain't CNN or Fox News or anyone else, then they say it's not true. It's not true. And it has to be a consensus. So they've already put out the Vulcan mind meld on people. All right, they're using the Jedi mind tricks on people and telling you that only they are the purveyors of truth. Truth is coming through them. If they don't disseminate truth, then it's not true. And you're not to listen to it. First of all, like Mama used to say, who died and left them boss? Who died and left them daddy? All right. Who said that they were the purveyors of truth? Who said the truth starts from them and trickles down? Who said they were true? Oh, I know, because they say, we're going to bring out this doctor who they've bought and paid for. It may not even be a doctor, could be an actor. And this person will say, yes, I agree with what the government has said. And so then they pay these people to come out and or threaten them to come out and, toe the line for the government. And they'll support those talking points without any type of scientific method. Everyone knows that scientific method, when you employ scientific method, it has to stand the scrutiny of your peers on both sides of the aisle. Because if it's truly scientific method, then facts are facts and truth is truth, right? You can't say, well, that's an igneous rock. And then another person say, no, it looks like it's more copper in makeup than me. No, it's not that either. You know what? It's coal. It's a piece of coal. Then another person says, no, that's actually phosphorus. You can't have all these 5 different things. Either the rock is what it is, or it's of unknown origin. Which is it? It can't be all of those things. And there's a scientific method that you could employ to test those hypotheses. And it will prove to you if it is or if it isn't. Igneous rocks have a certain chemistry to them, certain makeup, a certain physiology, separate from phosphorus, separate from coal. All right. So you can't have 5 different opinions and say this rock is these 5 different things. That is not scientific method. All right. That is you saying that you are the truth, and truth is whatever you say it is. All right. And you're not opening up to the marketplace of ideas. Truth and facts don't fear. They do not fear. They don't have fear in them. Pure truth and pure facts don't fear scrutiny. All right. They don't fear scrutiny. They invite scrutiny. Because at the end of the day, no matter what anyone thinks or how they feel on the inside, truth is always going to be truth, and facts are always going to be facts. To say there is no such thing as truth, or you have your truth and I have my truth, is in error. There's only one truth and one fact. All right? Either that is what we say it is based on scientific method and scrutiny, or it's not. It can't be both. A woman can't be pregnant but not pregnant, or a little bit pregnant. She's either pregnant or she isn't. Well, no, you have your truth and I have my truth. My truth is the woman's pregnant. But we just ran all of the diagnostic tests. We even did ultrasounds, and there is no human being growing within her womb. Yeah, but that's just your truth. We have our truth. Okay, so then I guess we'll find out in 9 months, right? What happens in 9 months if there's no baby, if there's no product of human life? then what will you say? We'll say that she's still pregnant and that she still gave birth. How can you say that when it's not a fact? Well, you have your facts and I have my facts. See how we get down this slippery slope? All right. So truth is not whatever you say it is. It has to be based on some type of scientific method. All right. Now, science is limited. All right. Science is very limited. All right. Because a big part of scientific method is being able to reproduce something in a lab. All right. So that you can test it. Some things you can't reproduce and test in a lab. So when you have situations like that, then you have to go to stage two. Stage two is evidence admissible in a court of law. All right. Those are the only two things we have at our disposal as human beings. We're finite. That's all we can do to test things. That's all we can do. Scientific method, all right, it can't do it. This is something that is above and beyond what we can do. Okay, well then let's go with evidence admissible in the court of law. You can always err to that. All right. So can we even get to that? Can we even get to that level? Can we agree that scientific method is limited? And then after that, can we also agree that at least we have what is called evidence admissible in a court of law? All right. So you can't dismiss evidence admissible in a court of law unless you're just saying we don't want the people to hear or know certain things. Well, then now what you're doing is you're picking and choosing, and that's still not pure scientific method. And that also, too, is not dealing with evidence admissible in a court of law. At that point, you're interfering with that process. All right. And we have that on both sides of the aisle, too. All right. So that is why we're in trouble, like we're in trouble, because the powers that be have quenched all dissent to the point where you don't even get to hear out the dissent. They won't let you. And the only reason why you do that is because you are afraid of truth. You're afraid of facts getting out in the open. You don't want that. So you have to invoke secrecy to keep the people in darkness, to keep them ignorant, because you know that if it ever came to light what you were doing in darkness, you would not be able to control the outcome. You would not be able to control the flow of information. You would not be able to control the public. And this is where we have found ourselves, ladies and gentlemen. And this is why, at the end of the day, unfortunately, people have decided that they do not trust the government. And that is not because they're born that way with not trusting authority. All right. First of all, who said that the government was an authority? When we talk about authority, we have to be very careful. We have to break down what we mean when we say authority. The government is the authority to carry out the sword. That is what they were created to do. The government carries out the sword. All right. Crime and punishment. All right. That's what it does. All right. That is its main function. And to protect borders. All right. Borders. Nations, countries are made up of language and borders. Okay. Language, culture, borders. That's it. Language, culture, borders. Language, culture, borders. That is a nation. That is a country. And the government's mandate is to protect those things. Make sure you're not invaded by hostile forces, and to make sure that, right and wrong is carried out. All right. That's what you're there for. The government issues punishment. All right. For people who violate other people's property and person. That is what that's for. So their job is to carry that out. If you take a life, then your life is taken. If you steal something, you make restitution. That's what the government through the courts is supposed to be doing. All right. But instead, it has overstepped and made itself a mammoth and a titan over the people. And it goes well beyond what the founders intended for government to be and to do and how to act. All right. And instead, we have omnipotent government, something that was never intended by the founding fathers. There is no such thing as omnipotent government. We're supposed to have limited government. And they love throwing around terms and redefining terms, such as democracy, democracy, democracy. This is not a democracy. It was never a democracy. It's a constitutional republic. Then I want to talk about that. It's a constitutional republic with representation. We got Bill of Rights. All right. That's what this is. It's not a democracy. It's not mob rule. It never was. It's a constitutional republic. All right. That's what makes the United States of America different than other nations and countries, is that it's a constitutional republic. It is not a democracy. Democracy, they like to throw it around, but the meanings that they're pouring in behind it is not what everyone thinks it is. All right. It's based on a system of global governance that they have come up with because the people at the top that are in the shadows, the unelected individuals, especially, those are the ones that are running things through their secret orders and secret societies. Notice the word secret. You keep hearing the word secret, 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 secret. Everything is a secret with them. And so they have to keep everything private, secret, out of your knowledge, keep you ignorant. And when I go over the news of the day, you're going to see what I mean by that. Here we go. Bears are out for blood. Oil plunges to a 2-decade low as coronavirus shatters demand. WTI reached a low of $11. That's the May contract. All right, it settled out at $11. We haven't ever been that low. That is a new record. All right, a new record. Now they like to post that. All right, because that sounds better than the truth. Now what you just heard was a fact. Remember I told you facts and truths are not necessarily the same, and this is a perfect example of that. It is a fact that the front month contract hit $11 before going off the board, before expiration. Okay, it's going to settle there at $11. That is a fact, but it's not a truth. The truth is the new front month now is June, and it is nowhere near $14. As a matter of fact, the June contract right now is trading at $22.17. And on Friday, it finished at $26. But they don't want to say that because that doesn't sound so good. But if you can pick and choose your facts like they did on this article, then it makes a lot of sense for you. So that's what they're doing now. And it's sad, but true. All right. So this is how you mix facts and truth. The fact of the matter is, yes, that contract did that. But the truth behind it is that today crude is not trading at $11 a barrel or $14 a barrel. It's technically trading at $22 a barrel because we have a new front month contract now. See how they can be misleading with the facts, play with facts to hide truth. Goldman Sachs says the biggest U.S. companies will slash spending by a record 33% during 2020. Analysts expect buybacks and dividends to also decline sharply in the year, falling by 50% and 23% respectively. Jim Simmons' Renaissance scored a 39% gain in its flagship medallion fund as the coronavirus hammered rivals. The Cold War Code Breakers hedge fund scored almost a 10% gain in March, outperforming most of its rivals. Well, he didn't outperform the PulseWave price trigger reports because if you ask some of the people in the trading room, they have exceeded way more than that. All right, that's our opening bell. Okay, the UK has greenlit a $300 million rescue package to stop thousands of startups collapsing during the COVID-19. Half that cash will be government money issued via convertible notes. Facebook and 3 Indonesian firms are in early talks for mobile payment approval. The plan, if approved, could be among the first such services under the social media firm's unified payment service, Facebook Pay. See, they were supposed to be a social media company connecting friends and family. Now they want to become a bank. See what I mean, folks? Branson says Virgin Atlantic will need UK government help to survive. This would be in the form of a commercial loan. It wouldn't be free money, and the airline will pay it back, Branson said in a blog. Dutch Bank board proposes no dividends be paid for 2019. The board had originally proposed to pay a dividend of 8.50 Danish crowns, which is $1.24 per share, corresponding to 49% of reported net profit for 2019. All right, stocks are down in Europe. Germany's DAX fell 0.6%. Britain's FTSE 100 fell 0.6%. And the Euro Stoxx 50 fell 0.7%. In Asia, China's Shanghai Composite rose 0.5%. Hong Kong's Hang Seng fell 0.2%. And Japan's Nikkei fell 1.2%. In the U.S., futures underlining the Dow Jones Industrial Average, the S&P 500, and the NASDAQ 100 fell between 1.2 and 1.7%. First quarter earnings expected: IBM, Equifax, and Philips NV are highlights. Eyes will be on bond markets. The 3-month and 6-month bill auctions should provide some insight into the state of the U.S. government debt. I can answer that for you right now. All right, it's called a depression. All right, and right now the U.S. is already going down, down, down. We're looking at a deflationary depression right now. As a matter of fact, all of the overseas news outlets were talking about it all weekend. And the word on the street is the president, at some point in the near future, is going to have to publicly declare that the United States is now officially in a depression. That is the word on the street right now. That's why the Dow futures was down over 500 points before I started this broadcast this morning. All right. We're in the red. See why I said it's dangerous to hold long positions over the weekend? It is difficult. It is very difficult because when Monday morning comes, you don't know what's going to happen. You don't know what news came out over the weekend. And because we're still in this deflationary, virus-ridden economic state of affairs, you don't know what's going on. All right. Yeah, I think right now, they say deflationary depression. I don't think it's going to be any of the above. I think we've entered into something that no one has ever seen before and that has never happened. I think we're going to pretty much have just about every type of economic situation going on, negative that is, at the same time. I believe we're going to see hyperinflation as well as deflation in certain things. So some things we'll see hyperinflation, some things we'll see deflationary aspects. It's going to be weird. And because I see it already happen. It's been happening for a while, as a matter of fact. Why do you think they took out energy and food out of their GDP numbers and things of that nature? Because they say, oh, it's too volatile. No such thing. They took it out because it would really show and reflect the truth of the economic situation, and they wouldn't be able to massage their numbers the way they do. That's why they took out food and energy. Food and energy is the biggest part of a human being's day-to-day life. All right, we're dependent on energy. We're dependent on food. If you don't have food, then you die. All right, and if you don't have energy, then you have no economy. You got to have energy. It takes energy to work. The definition of work, all right, the traditional Webster's dictionary definition of the word work is the ability to move. You cannot move All right, there's no physical kinetic energy without energy. That's why it's called kinetic energy, because it's moving, it's in motion. There has to be put in motion. Something has to be physically put in motion. There has to be movement. Movement is energy. Without energy, you have no movement. If the battery in your car dies, there's no energy, there is no movement. Your car will not move. It needs energy. The fuel that you put in your car also provides energy. If you have no fuel in your car and you have no battery, your car will not move. You have no energy. All right. So what we have right now is we have no kinetic movement. I like what JB just put in the live chat. We have no velocity. All right. We have none of that. But we are in a weird situation because we're under a new economy. I told you guys this new economy is it has a lot of people confused. It has a lot of smart people confused because they're like, I don't understand. How can you continually print money ad infinitum and not have any negative consequence associated with it ever? Right? Now, if it was you and I doing that, we would have been bankrupt a long time ago, and we would cease to be able to function in an economic way because we would have run out of money. Okay, well, you would think that, well, and you've heard economists even say this. Well, governments, they're different. It's different because a government can just print money. Yeah, but if your debt exceeds your income, by definition, you're considered insolvent because you can't pay your debts. You're insolvent. Yeah, but I have $1 billion in the bank. What you talking about? I'm rich. Yeah, you got $1 billion in the bank, but you owe $4 trillion. So you're not rich. You're poor. You're broke. You cannot pay your bills. You cannot pay your debt. You are broke. The definition of broke is the absence of money, meaning that your liabilities exceed your income. All right? Your liabilities exceed your income. So they've Vulcan mind melded people into thinking that the government never has to pay any of its bills and it can just continue to add debt to infinity. Right? Now, under normal monetary conditions, right, all things being equal, that government would already be worse than Italy and Greece and everybody else. It would be insolvent because it can't even pay and service the debt. They can't service the debt. They can't pay on the debt. You get to a point where the servicing on the debt is infinity and you owe infinity. All right. So by normal standards, that nation would have already collapsed, right? Well, here's what happens. Okay. Here we go. So we're under this new situation. And technically, we've really been under it since we've had computers. Because at the end of the day, it's not about printing paper dollars. I think it's hilarious that people thought that we were still under that regime, but we really haven't been. It's really been zeros and ones for a very long time now. People are just starting to wake up to that fact. Everything is zeros and ones. Everything is built on dust and sand, literally, because that's all a microchip is in the first place. Everything is zeros and ones. All the Fed does is say, okay, we're going to type this in at a computer terminal. We're going to type that you have this much money in your account. That's it. Technically speaking, and this is the part that I know people have a hard time wrapping their brain around. And some people are just not going to get it. Majority of people are not going to get it. But here's how this works. The Federal Reserve right now could go in and say everyone has $10 million in their account, and they could literally type that in, 10 million to this person. They could do that for everybody. And it technically would not hurt the economy. There will be no adverse effect to the economy. But no, that's not true, because when you print too much money and too much money in circulation, it causes this happen and hyperinflation and this and that, and too much money chasing after few goods. You don't know what you're talking about. Oh, but you need to go take an economics class. Okay, fine. Okay, fine. Well, then explain to me why that has never happened and our government has been running deficits since before you and I were born. I'll wait for your answer. You don't have an answer because you can't explain it. The government has never been able to service the debt. The real debt that the governments have been underwhelmed with is staggering. If you knew what the real numbers were, you would gag. You would lose the capacity to bring air into your lungs. You wouldn't be able to stand it. Right now, if the House of Cards, just based on the whole derivatives schemes and scandals, it's something like $1 trillion, quadrillion in derivatives that have been written over the last 20 years. That's more money than all the countries combined like 100 times over. And more than that, really. It's an infinite number of zeros. They have been throwing trillions everywhere, man, for over 20 years. Trillions with a T. They lie and say, "Oh, you know, the deficit's just like $4 billion, you know, whatever, some little low number." They'll throw you billions because you're used to hearing it, and it doesn't mean anything. But the real numbers is in the quadrillions, the octillions, the septillions. It's just a staggering number, a number you can't even fathom. That's the real debt. Those derivatives that have been written are insane. And if that house of cards ever came down, every nation on earth would be absolutely bankrupt. Okay. Now and I'm gonna help you guys. I'm here to help. That's what I'm here for. My job is to help you to see this. Okay. I want you to hear me, and I want you to put your critical thinking hats on. I realize that some of you won't be able to participate in this exercise, and it's not your fault, but your critical thinking has been seared with a hot iron. So you will lack the capacity to hear what I am saying, and it is not your fault. I don't fault you. All right. It's through years of public schooling and years of getting brainwashed in the average university today. All right. Majority of universities out there, they're not teaching you how to think critically. They teach you to regurgitate whatever the professor tells you is truth and fact. And you're really not reading anything outside of their writings either. You're reading the professor's material, his books. They're indoctrinating you with their nonsense. And then you think it's fact, and you get out in the real world, and when your worldview is challenged, you can't comprehend it. You can't wrap your head around it. You don't understand, how is this even possible? That's not what you learned. That's not what you were taught. And you don't understand it. And it's difficult to unplug from the matrix. All right, because truth tends to be violent. It's violent to the psyche. All right, you have to go through the stages of grief, and that can be very hard on the average person. So I understand. I get it. But I need you to hear what I'm about to say to you. All right. I'm going to present you now with some evidence to what I have been saying. All right, here we go. Put your big boy pants on, your big girl pants on. All right, you put on your thinking cap. Get ready for a dose of reality. Get ready for a trip down the rabbit hole. All right, this is a submarine, and we're about to dive deep into the Marianas Trench. All right, you ready? Here we go. So I just presented you some facts that the derivatives markets are like 1 billion, quadrillion contracts written, right? I present to you another exhibit that the Federal Reserve, has been, pumping liquidity into the U.S. economy for over 20 years, nonstop stimulus. All right, nonstop stimulus since the year 2000. They started stimulus during the NASDAQ bubble bursting. When the tech bubble bursted in 2000, that's when the first emergency stimulus came into being. All right, and it was in the Fed. It was in the form of the Fed lowering interest rates. All right. Then when 9/11 came, they had to do something they never did before to prop up the economy. They did a lot of magical tricks during that time. And then since then, the 2008 financial housing bubble crisis. See, they don't want to call it, the housing crisis. They just call it the financial crisis. But the 2008 quote unquote financial crisis was not a financial crisis. The 2008 situation was a mortgage crisis. It was called the 2008 housing crisis. See how they like to play with words and hide the truth from you? They gave you the fact. 2008, there was a financial crisis. But what the word finance just means money. But what was the money? Where was the money going? What blew up in 2008? Was it the economy? No, the economy did not blow up in 2008. What blew up in 2008 was Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. The U.S. housing economy blew up. All right, that's what blew up. All right, mortgages blew up. Prime mortgages blew up. Subprime mortgages blew up. They want you to think that it was a subprime mortgage crisis. No, sir, no, ma'am. A paper blew up at the same rate that the subprime blew up. And technically speaking, all of it was subprime because they used subprime standards to write the A paper loans. You'll say, what do you mean? First of all, in order to, excuse me, in order to come up with the way those new mortgage products, they had to use subprime standards. What do I mean when you say subprime? What does it mean? What's the definition of subprime? Subprime in a nutshell is giving a person more money than they can afford to pay back. That's what subprime means. You're giving someone more money than they can afford to pay back. And they were creative about it. Very creative. They had a lot of loans. Now it's been a long time, but I'm just going by memory now. All right, so they had the no income, no asset loans, or NINA loans. All right, no income, no asset. And they had the no doc loans. Well, you didn't need any docs. All you needed was your driver's license, basically, and here's your loan. Then they got even more creative, and they started giving loans that were more than what the house was worth. So, say for example, you found this beautiful little house for you and wifey. It's only a 100,000. The bank would say, "Well, I'm gonna hook you up." Now, when you move into this new house, it's way bigger than the apartment you're living in with your parents. All right, it's way bigger than that room, that one little room y'all been cramped in. So you're gonna need furniture. Did you know that? Well, we didn't think about that. Yeah, you're gonna need furniture, and you're gonna need some new appliances too, because you're here in a state where appliances do not convey. What do you mean they don't convey? It means that when you buy the house, that they don't leave the appliances in there. They take everything out. You're gonna have to bring your own everything. My own everything? Yes, your own everything. Well, all we have is enough money, just for the mortgage. We've been saving up forever just to buy the house and to pay the closing costs and to pay our mortgage insurance. I can't afford furniture. We went to look at furniture. It was like $10,000, and now just for the dining room furniture alone. But you know, we got 3 bedrooms. We got to buy beds. We got to buy dressers, and we got to. And what about carpet? I want a carpet. You know, I want a carpet. I want carpet. And this house doesn't have any carpet. Well, maybe have you considered just getting an area rug, ma'am? Well, yeah, I did, but those Persian rugs, they were $10,000 because of the square footage we have in the living room. Okay, well, tell you what we're gonna do, ma'am. I heard what you said. I got you. All right. My last name isn't Banker for nothing, okay? All right. My name is Yes Banker. Here's my card. Is that really your name? Yes. And then you look, he gives you his card. His first name is Yes. His last name is Banker. That's his name, Yes. He said, all my answers to you are yes. And at the end of the day, I'm your banker. That's how I roll. You are so amazing. You're like an angel. You're like a godsend. I can't believe this dream is finally coming true. Yes, it is. And I'm about to bless you even more. How you gonna bless me even more? Because we're not giving you a 100% loan for this mortgage for this house. We're gonna give you 120% loan. 120%. Yes, we're gonna not only give you the money to buy the house, we're going to put money in your pocket. We're going to give you a 120% LTV. 120% LTV. What's LTV? That's loan to value. That's right. We're going to give you not only the 100,000 you need for the house, but we're going to give you the extra $20,000 above that so you can go and furnish your house. And I'm going to give you the card of someone that I know that is, they work for ABC Inc. They work for Acme Inc. All right. It used to be called ABC. Now it's Acme Inc. And they specialize in furniture. Here, I'm going to give you my card. You want to holler at my boy. His name is Coyote. His last name is Genius. He's a genius. Okay. So talk to my man, Coyote Genius, and Acme. He's going to hook you up with Acme Furniture. And if he's not there when you go, just speak to his supervisor, Roadrunner. Roadrunner is his supervisor. He's going to hook you up. They both work at Acme. All right. Now, he's not a genius, but Roadrunner is really fast. He's going to make sure you get your furniture delivered to you fast. All right. So that the day that you go to closing, your furniture is always going to be in your house waiting for you. I got you. That's what they did, folks. They came up not just with no doc loans, but they came up with these extraordinary above LTV loans. You could get a loan for 100%, 102%, 103%, 105%, 107%, 110%, and even 120%. I know this because I was there. All right. I was involved. All right. I was in the game. I know about that. All right. I'm not just telling you something that I read somewhere. I was there, boy. I was up in there. Okay? Don't tell me what I don't know. I know. All right? I had over $200 million in deals on my desk. I will never, ever forget it. I was involved in all types of projects, marinas, bowling alleys, gas stations, medical practice facilities, you name it. I did log cabins. I did single wides, double wide trailers, manufactured. I did it all. I did it all. All right. Not too many people can say they did all that I did. I did it all. And I operated in all 50 states. I even did houses for celebrities. I did loans for celebrities. You'll be surprised to learn that some of your favorite celebrities are dead broke. They have no money and they have terrible credit. Can't buy a sandwich on credit. So anyway, moving on with the story. So those are the loans that they did. They had 100%, 10, 102, 103, 105, 107, 110, and 120. Those are the loans that you could get that were available. All right. And then they came up with something else. They said, you know what? this is really taking off, but we need to do more. We need to do more, you guys. Okay, what are you going to do? Okay, we have another loan. We have an adjustable rate loan. We have zero interest loans. We have loans where for the first 3 months you're going to pay like 0% interest. All right. We're going to do that. And then it adjusts, but don't worry about it adjust because it's tied to the LIBOR, so you ain't gotta worry. That thing don't move at all. And what the world didn't know is that there were places like Deutsche Bank and Goldman Sachs and other players that were manipulating LIBOR rates. Yes, they were. And what people didn't understand, the way these adjustable rate mortgages worked. I'm not talking about the traditional ones. I'm talking about the weird ones that they came up with. There were some very sophisticated ones, and they were LIBOR +2, +5, or whatever they wanted to add in there. And sometimes, I mean, you could see your loan, your mortgage. Let's say you were paying, let's see, on $100,000 house. Let's say your mortgage was $300 a month. All right, just throwing it out there. So for the last 3 months, you've been paying $300 a month. You're loving life, right? And then all of a sudden, month 4 comes, you get your mortgage statement in the mail, and it's saying you owe $600. And you're like, what? This can't be right. Our mortgage is only $300. You call the mortgage company. All right. Pam answers the phone. Hey, this is Pam. How can I help you? Thank you for calling Jack You Up Mortgage. How can I help you? What? I must have called the wrong place. No. I'm trying to reach my loan officer. His name was Yes. His last name is Banker. Oh, yes. I know Yes Banker. Yeah, he's over there at Friendly Mortgage. Friendly Bank Mortgage. Yeah. Well, that's who I'm trying to reach. Oh, no, you don't deal with him anymore. You deal with us. Huh? I don't even know you guys. Who are you? We're Jack You Up Mortgage. I never heard of you. Why am I talking to you? Oh, you didn't know? Okay. What happens is your loan was sold to us. We bought your loan. What happens is they originate the loans. See that word originate? They originate the loans and then they sell them to us. We buy those loans. That's what we do. Now, our cousin at Strong Arm Robbery Inc., they don't buy the loans. They actually just service the loans for them. But we bought your loan. You pay your mortgage to us now. We bought that paper. He sold it to us in a mortgage-backed security. So pay to us. I don't understand, but why is it $600 now? Well, see what happens is you have an adjustable rate. You have an ARM. That's what they call them. And yours says that yours is tied to the LIBOR +5. So LIBOR has gone up a little bit. So has your mortgage. I don't understand. I was told that it was going to be $300 and that, it's a 1% interest rate. Yeah, but did you read the fine print, ma'am? It says 1% interest rate for the first 3 months. Yeah, I know. But so can you run us our money or what? See, because here, Jack You Up Mortgage, homie don't play that. Either you run us our money right now, or we're going to send Hugo to your house. Who's Hugo? Oh, he's our bank examiner guy. He comes and he takes pictures of your house and everything and make sure you're still living there. And then we start the foreclosure proceedings. What are you talking about? I'm not even late. Yeah, I know, but based on our calculations, you will be. So we're anticipating that you will go into 3-month default within the next 3 months. So we're already starting the procedures just to help you out a little bit. Oh, and by the way, here's a check for $1,000. If you get out now, if you move out today, here's a check for $1,000 to help you relocate somewhere else. All right, so you guys have heard this long diatribe of mine, but it is a real one. It is exactly how the game was played back then. Everything I said to you was with a fictitious example, but it was based on actual reality. And I wasn't being sarcastic or funny. I was giving you live things that actually happened. I actually saw it happen. And it gets even deeper and more weird than that. I know you guys are familiar with the robo signings with Bank of America and all that stuff. That was nothing. That was just some scandal It was a scandal. It was jacked up, but they put that out there because they didn't want you to focus on the intricacies of what really happened. And they want you to also think that it was just, with subprime mortgages. Those poor people, they shouldn't have been in them houses. It wasn't just the subprime, you guys. That's the part that kept out of the media too. It was just as much A paper defaults as it was subprime defaults. Now, I know that goes against your belief systems, and it's hard for you to wrap your head around because you're saying, well, how does a person with A1 credit, how are they defaulting? No way. That's why they have A1 credit in the first place. You don't know what you're talking about. A dude with an 850 FICO, he's not like those guys. He doesn't welch. He pays his bills. That's why he has an 850 FICO. You don't know what you're talking about. I'm unsubscribing. Okay, let me break it down to you. How is it that the subprime borrowers, along with the A paper borrowers, how are the A paper borrowers defaulting just as fast at the same rate, if not faster, than the subprime people? Make me understand, Dex. Break it down for me. Break it down. Break it on down now. All right, you want me to break it down for you? Here we go. So what happened was the AAA plus paper dudes, the vanilla people. All right, we call them the vanilla, and that is not a racial slur. We're talking about vanilla. Vanilla is a term when you say vanilla paper, vanilla company. That means they only deal with people that got money and they got good credit. They're higher income earners, blah, blah, blah. It's not a nationality. It's not based on race, color, creed, all right? So you say vanilla. So they're vanilla. These are your cream of the crop borrowers, okay? People with great FICO scores, good jobs. They're usually white collar type people, good career jobs, blah, 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 okay? Blah, blah, blah. All right, so the reason why the vanilla paper defaulted just as much, just as quick, if not quicker, than your subprime people is, are you ready? Wait for it. They too were given the same deals that the subprime people were being given. They were given more house than they too could afford. All right. Okay, case in point. During this time, it was a popular thing to be in the real estate game. Everybody and their mother became a realtor. In the beginning, it was cool to be a loan officer. You could make a lot of money. Then everyone was like, no, it's not. That's not good enough. We now need to become realtors. That's where the money is. I want to be a realtor. So everybody was a realtor. So what happened was you saw a lot of articles, so not really articles, but more so TV commercials. There were a lot of commercials saying that, you could get into the real estate game. That's where the money is. So that's when you had shows like Flip This House, Flip That House. Everybody became a construction worker overnight. I'm an expert in plumbing and carpentry and construction because of Home Depot. Home Depot made people think that they could do things themselves. They could fix their house, remodel their house. You didn't need to hire nobody. Do it yourself. Do it yourself. Do it yourself. Do it yourself. All right. First of all, everybody does not have that type of inclination. All right. It's not, just go grab a hammer and a nail and voila, you just add it onto your house. It is a lot more detailed than that. All right. And if you're not trained in construction and all that stuff, you don't know what you're doing. But Home Depot sold you a bill of goods and you could do stuff for yourself. First of all, not everybody has the time to do that or the energy, because most people who could afford to do that were professionals. They're doctors, lawyers, Indian chiefs, and they're working 60, 80 hours a week. When you going to find time to add on to the house? Huh? When you going to do that? When you going to find time to do that? See, Home Depot was just, in my opinion, as quote unquote evil as Walmart was. but people didn't see it that way because they had very good marketing. Home Depot was killing the construction industry because that plumber, that HVAC guy, that electrical dude, that electrician, they were seeing less business because everybody was, oh, I do it myself. I saw a commercial on Home Depot, and they have an online course you can take, and it shows you how to do it yourself. So we started living in the Renaissance age back around that time too. Everybody thought they could do everything and be everything. So you could be a lawyer by daytime, and you could be a carpenter at night, doing your own carpentry or doing your own plumbing. It was ridiculous and it was foolish. All right. And then when people finally got back to reality, they realized, you know what? I need to call the plumber. I need to call the carpenter. I messed up. I need to call the electrician. All right. I need to call the cable guy. I need him after all. All right. That's why everybody has different professions. Okay. You can't do everything. You can't be everything. All right. And that is just ridiculous. So we had this. It was a huge problem. I mean, this whole 2008, it had a lot of just devastation in its wake. It didn't just shake up one industry. It shook up a lot of industries. All right. So you had this going on. So back to the A paper. The Nina docs were for the A paper. The Nina Ninja loans were not for subprime. There was no such thing as a Nina or a Ninja loan for a subprime borrower. That is a misconception. All right. They're making you think they're putting the whole 2008 financial crisis on the subprime people, and it's not fair because that's not true. The Nina no income, no asset docs were for the A paper people to make it smoother and easier for them to get into the game because most of them did not want to get into the game. So they have to make it enticing to get them in the game. All right. So here's how this worked. I'm showing you how evil this was. This is what happened with them. Oh, by the way, I just updated the USA equities report because someone had asked me to add some securities from the trading room. So I did that. So it's up there. It's posted in the trading room. Frank, if you could put a note in there for me, I appreciate it. I just updated that because one of our subscribers asked for a couple of stocks to be added. So I did that. It's in there now and it's been updated. All right. So what they did was they said, okay, the A paper dudes, they're not falling for this. We need to entice them. How do we get into them? How do we deal with them? You know, the people that you disrespect today, the people that this country makes fun of today, the ones that you call boomers, all right, which is an extremely derogative and disrespectful term. That is who they were going after. Remember, these people, these are your Woodstock people. These are the people that by nature did not trust authority and government and all that stuff. They were anti-capitalist, anti-this, anti-that. And then when they grew up, they actually started working for the government. The majority of your power people now, power players, came right out of Woodstock. All right? Those are the ones running the country now, okay? So what happened was they said, okay. Oh, I see what you said there, Danny. I see you, man. I see you trying to be slick, trying to be smart. You said Acme does furniture and booby traps. No, they got out of the booby trap business. See, that's what you don't know. See, y'all think y'all know everything. Trying to fact check me. They got out of the booby trap business because they was getting sued. Wile E. Coyote sued him because he kept getting hurt. He kept getting injured on the job. They was tired of paying him workman's comp. So they got out of booby traps. They only do furniture now. All right, I'm bugging. All right, so anyway. So what they did was they said, okay, we know that they don't feel like filling out the paperwork and going through the whole loan process. So just get him on the phone, tell him we'll do it. No income, no asset. We just need his driver's license. Bam, he can have the keys to the house. So they started doing that. And those loans, just so you know, the Nina No Doc loans was hitting in Florida and California. Those are the two biggest states where you had those Ninas. The Ninja Nina loans, all right? Nina the Ninja loans. Cali and Florida, all right? Why Cali and Florida? I'll let you think about it for a minute. Florida's the sunshine state, just like California is. A lot of retirees, people with money, big money, Miami and all that. Yep, that's where those loans went, just so you know. All right. Now in New York and Philly and Chicago and Baltimore, Maryland, those were all the hard money loans. All right, New York, New Jersey, Baltimore, Chicago, hard money loans. That's a whole nother conversation. But let me get this A paper thing done. Okay, so the A paper, they give those the Nina loans, all right? And so that's how they were able to get them. But a lot of the A paper people, they weren't like necessarily like the professional, like, your lawyer, doctor. A lot of them had good government jobs and they had, a lot of years there. So they had some seniority, stuff like that, right? This is how evil this got, you guys. Are you ready? The way they tricked these guys, because remember, they took care of the doctor and the lawyer, told him, hey, I'll give you a Nina loan. Don't worry about it. I got you. But to the middle class person, not upper middle class, but the middle class A paper, it was so evil, man. They made commercials targeting the wives. And I'm not making this up. Some of you probably don't know this. Maybe you're too young, you weren't born yet, I don't know. But they had commercials targeting females, specifically Caucasian females. All right? The commercial, there was a Caucasian female. She was the wife. They made a commercial where she was manipulating the husband because she wanted a new house. She wanted a bigger house. She wanted a better house. And so all you saw was the man looking real sad because he had to now do something that financially he knew that was going to destroy them. But that's how that was the actual commercial. That was the scene in the commercial. She's standing in the kitchen and she giving him the evil eye, looking at him like, if you don't get this house for me, it's on. It is on and popping up in here. We're going to be fighting. And that's the commercials they ran. Now you think, why would they do something like, who would do something like that? Because what they were showing you was, remember, everything that the TV does, especially ad campaigns, they're very stereotypical. They were focusing on the middle, the middle income, middle class, Caucasian families. All right. And that's why you had the woman. She was specifically a Caucasian woman. She wasn't a black woman, Asian woman, none of that. She was a Caucasian woman, middle class. And they showed her in the kitchen, like I said, giving the man the evil eye. She wants that new house. Here is why this was so evil. If that alone isn't enough, here's why this was so evil. The majority of these families that they were targeting, are you ready for this? I hope you're sitting down. They already had their homes paid for. Let it sink in. They were targeting people that already had their homes paid for. Some were even retired. Homes were paid for, paid off. No mortgage. No mortgage. No mortgage payments. They enticed them. They said, if you sold this nice, cozy, comfortable home that you've made for your family all these years, the home when you raised your kids in all these years, the home where you've been comfortable in and you have all your memories and everything, if you sell this, if you depart with this house, I can put you into, show them what they've won, a new home. And that's what they did. You had that moment like you do on Family Feud or on The Price is Right. Show them what's behind the showcase. It's $1 million home. Your yours right now. What? What do you mean? Yes, if you get out of that house, that home right now that you are in that's paid off with no mortgage, I guarantee you I can put that $1 million home in your hands today. Huh? I can't afford that. Yes, you can. As a matter of fact, for only $200 more per month than what you were paying on this house, you can have $1 million house. Really? No, we don't really need it. We're really comfortable and we like this home. No. So how could they get Miss Homemaker out of that house and into this $1 million debt? Tell me that ain't wicked. You took a family that had a house paid off, no mortgage, no worries, and you entice them to get into debt upwards of $1 million. You take a family that don't have no debt, and now you're gonna entice them and trick them into getting into over $1 million in debt. Now, if someone just set you down and talked to you like that, you'd be like, no way in the world would I fall for that. I'm here to tell you that tens of thousands of families fail for this because every day in constant rotation on every television channel, these commercial ads were running. And they enticed them. The woman saw, why were they aiming at the woman? They didn't aim these commercials at the men, they aimed them at the woman. Why? Because their surveys based on psychology told them that most women want comfort and security. And they want certain things. The average woman wants a nice home, a nice, big, comfortable home. And here's how they got the woman to entice the husband to do it. Vanity. They came out with the keeping up with the Joneses situation. They started putting things on television. There was a movie like that where they showed you how they did it. How a company would put a family and move them in next door. That's what they did. And this is real life. This is not just a movie. The movie was based on the marketing techniques, folks. You need to know this because those that don't know their history are doomed to repeat it. And I'm telling you this now for this generation because you guys are going to be the ones in the back when the nations come out of this depression. You're going to be the ones with the money. You're going to have a lot of money. And I need to warn you now so that you won't depart with your money. Here's how they did it. This family would move in next door. A very attractive family. It wasn't some ugly family or overweight or sickly family or anything like that. The family had to be perfect. The man was in shape and built, muscular, whatever, looked like a movie star. His wife looked like a movie star or some kind of, fashion model. All right. And then the kids were perfect. All right. And they would move in and they would make up a profile for the family. This family, just so you know, they were not a real family. They were paid hired actors to pretend to be a family. The guy would pretend to go to work every day and everything else. Seriously. And over time, you would see that it seemed like this family was always shopping. She always wore the latest fashions and had the best makeup and perfumes. And they were always telling you, hey, yeah, I got you. Oh, you can have this too. I got this over here, over there. He got this over here, over there. And you see the dude was always buying a new car, had the flyest cars, and you saw him, remodeling the house and just all types of stuff. You see the kids, their job was to go to school and have the best gadgets, the best Walkmans and cell phones and whatever. What they were doing was enticing people and attacking your vanity, the keeping up with the Joneses. And so the wife would be like, how come we can't have a new car like that? You just got to raise at your job. Why can't we get a car like that? Or and then the guy be like, baby, how come you can't dress like she dressing? Why don't you go get that new? I mean, it was just insane. You have to see the movie. It was absolutely ridiculous. But it was based on what they were actually doing. And then by the end of the movie, you saw that this was a vast network that was global. They had this set up in every country. And then they would reinforce it with all the different ads and commercials, reinforcing these things. It was absolutely diabolical. But that's how they got the paper people in debt and got them in trouble. Some of these people were even on fixed incomes. They were retired. The bank didn't care. They wanted you to go in debt. And at the time, these houses, the average house that these people were getting hit with, they were going for 1.2 to 1.5 million new construction. I'm not kidding. 1.2 to 1.5 million. That was the average house. That was the average house. Yep. And they were buying it. They were buying them. They were throwing up construction everywhere. Some of the houses even were sitting on 10 acres. It was, and I can't front. Some of the houses were the most beautiful things you ever saw, but they put them up so fast. They were so shabbily made. And then not only that, but then the bank was disrespecting people even further, just when you didn't think they could get no deeper, no darker, no wickeder. Well, they became wickeder est. All right. Here's what they did. The states, the individual states started, what's a better word to say? Ignoring, turning a blind eye. All right. This is what they did. They said, okay, we're going to allow now, by not even enforcing, we're just going to look the other way. We're going to let companies do anything and everything they want. So you started having a bank that was a mortgage company, that was a real estate company, that was a home inspection service, all rolled up, and a title company, all rolled into one. Think I'm lying? Google it. You will see when the lawsuits started flying, when the bubble popped, you will see what I'm talking about. Class action lawsuits, everything else. And that is supposed to be against the law in most states. The realtor cannot also be the loan officer. Some states allow it, but you have to disclose it. But the realtor can't be the loan officer, and it can't also be the title company. And it can't also be the home inspection company. You can't be all under the same umbrella. All right, that's a huge conflict of interest. But they allowed it. All right, they allowed these things to happen. All right, they allowed it. Adam in the room. Nah, I'm looking at corn and soybeans now. I don't really notice anything out of the way. The May contract on the beans down 3 points, and corn is down 3 1/4. You mentioned wheat and rice. First of all, rice is Canadian. It's called rough rice, and that's traded on the Winnipeg exchange. So nah, I don't know what you're talking about on that one. But I'll pull up your wheat though and see what's going on there. I normally don't look at wheat because wheat typically is kind of iffy. But let me see what you're working with here. Oh, snap. Wow. Okay, something is happening. I don't know. I'm about to make a note to myself to look into that and see what's going on. Yes. So Adam in the live stream said, has anyone noticed what's going on with the grains, rice and wheat? Right now, I see wheat is up 27.5 points, trading at 561. So I don't know what's going on with the wheat. I'm sure there's a story there somewhere. I just don't know what that is, but there is definitely a story somewhere there. Perhaps a grain report or something must have came out. That's usually when these things move like that. So I'm sure something came out. There's something somewhere came out to make that happen, because beans and corn aren't moving. It's just the wheat. For those of you who are not aware, one of the reasons why you can see corn move in a different direction of wheat and beans is because, if my memory serves me correct, corn and beans can be planted in the same field, basically, but wheat is separate. So that's one of the reasons why you can see wheat do stuff like that. But yeah, that is something. There's a story there. But I'll also say this too: traditionally, wheat moves sideways and weird. That's one of the reasons why I normally don't even keep my eye on it. I normally keep my eye on beans and the corn. But thanks for bringing that to my attention. Okay, so yeah, so then they got him. They got him with that, with this incredible arm twisting tactics with these with by going deep like that and making people think that they could have something nicer and something better and get your chance at the good life. I mean, and these commercials are like, don't you deserve it? Haven't you worked hard? What's in it for you? You deserve this. You deserve this. And so that's what made people get into just outrageous debt with it. And then they got in trouble. They couldn't pay those big notes, because how did they get them in the $1 million house? Most people would not have qualified for the $1 million or the 1.5 million, $2 million loans, you guys. They would not have. So the only way to get them in it was through the arms. And the arms, they made the arms really sophisticated and really fancy so that most people would be able to qualify for it. All right. Most A paper people could qualify for it. So that's how they destroyed the middle class, as far as those that already had their homes paid off. All right. Now they also told people around this time, because you had Flip That House and how to get into the game of remodeling houses and selling them. Buy a shack, fix it up, sell it for profit. And doing the same around the same time, they were telling people that real estate is your biggest investment. You can become rich off real estate. And everybody was given real estate courses, and sometimes the seminars would be packed out, standing room only. Everybody was an expert in real estate now. Everybody was trying to be Donald Trump, but they weren't Donald Trump. And if they were really trying to be like Donald Trump, they would have followed Donald Trump. But see, again, there's a difference between facts, right, and truth. The fact of the matter is, yes, there was a time where you could have got rich flipping houses or just buying and selling houses without doing anything to them. The market did have a window where you could buy $1 million house today, do nothing to it, sell it a month or two later, and make a couple of $100,000 in profit. I'm not kidding. That's how crazy the market got. So there was some truth to that. But that's not what they did. These specialized arms was the only way to get people into the big $1 million houses. It got so bad, you guys, that at one point, before they even took the first bulldozer to the ground, they would already have the entire community sold out. It was so bad that before they even broke ground, in some cases, they were already sold out. Then you had price wars. You had people driving up the prices of houses several $100,000 more than what it was worth, because it was such a seller's market. It was ridiculous. You could have a contract on a house and you're all excited, get a phone call a week later talking about, we have another offer on the table now, so you're going to have to bid more if you want this house. They were doing all types of shady dealings like that. It was ridiculous. Then they got to the point where the realtor started lying to you, telling you they had someone else involved, and that was their way to go back and forth with you to get more for the house than what it was really worth. And what you didn't know, there wasn't another buyer, but they would tell you that. It was a game the realtors played, because, again, these ads were so effective that women would be doing, like telling their husband to do whatever it took to get her that house. Needless to say, the divorce rate skyrocketed during the 2008 financial crisis because of that. People were going into economic ruin and bankruptcy. All right. Everybody thought they were a genius. Everybody thought they were a house flipper. There were people caught with homes they couldn't move. Some greedy people. I remember there was a case. I remember a person had 50 houses. They owned 50 residential houses and they were underwater. They were in trouble and they had no renters in them. That's how they was balling. They just kept buying houses and getting HELOCs on them. All right. HELOC is a home equity line of credit. So every house you buy, you can get yourself like $100,000 line of credit. And if you got 10 houses, that's $1 million in lines of credit that you got. So people kept flipping, and it was like, well, I'm making a lot of money every year as a realtor. You know, I'm making about $500,000 a year, and you know, off of selling homes. I can afford to buy all these homes and pay the mortgages myself. And then when the pressure got thick, they started throwing renters in there. But then those renters couldn't pay their mortgage, so then they were still in trouble. So things started to implode rapidly in this situation. So then what they did was they realized, okay, we got trouble. We're in trouble. This ain't working so right. So everybody thought that they was a real estate mogul. Everybody was watching Donald Trump, and they thought they could be Donald Trump. Now, around this time, too, he wrote his famous book, The Art of the Deal, which was a spectacular book. Spectacular book. That's one thing you need to know about some of the movers and shakers in the world. Not all of them are frauds. A lot of them are frauds. They're not who you think they are. But in the case of Donald Trump and George Soros, they are definitely about that life. I cannot go into all the details, but needless to say, yeah, they're about that life. Donald Trump is actually a really good business dude. He is he when it comes to deals and real estate, he knows what he's doing. I have to give it to him. He didn't get there by himself, though. George Soros really does know how to trade, believe it or not. All right, don't think he just an old man and you know whatever, and he's a New World Order illuminist. No, the man does know how to trade. But like Warren Buffett, he's able to do things and get deals done that the average person cannot. So don't forget that either. But anyway, George Soros' book, The Alchemy of Finance, incredible read, but not for most people. Most people won't be able to understand what the man is saying because it is very deep. But both dudes are about that life. So anyway, if you were really watching Donald Trump, people who trying to be like him back during that time, they would have failed his class. Because rule number one, if you're watching someone or you're inspired by someone and you kind of pattern yourself after them, rule number one is you watch what they do and try to mimic their moves. So people really wasn't watching Donald. I remember the date, down to the date, where I got that call. And the call was that Donald Trump was liquidating all of his U.S. holdings, land holdings. He was selling everything. And that the gig was up. It's time to get out of the market. It was not 2008. I got the call in 2007. Now, I want you to let that sink in for a minute. They said, I don't care what deals you got on your desk. Anything that you got in the pipeline, the closing pipeline, close it right now. Close it. If not today, then by the end of the week, you need to be closed. Everything needs to be wrapped up because after that, the pipeline is gone. It's dried up and blah, blah, blah. I got the call. I will never forget it. $200 million in deals on my desk. And just like that, I had the rug pulled out from under me. I was so excited about closing those deals. All right. It would have made my year, my month, my day, my decade, my whatever. And I never got a chance to taste it, folks, because I got that phone call that said, I don't care what you think, how you feel, whatever. Get out of the market. Do it now. Do it now. And I got that call, not just the call, but then I got follow-up calls from my other sources that said, yes, it's true. Get out. I'm selling everything. I'm selling all of my homes. All right. People that I knew that was making millions in real estate was like, I'm out. I'm selling. I'm liquidating. Get out. Do it now. Do it now. They said Donald is getting out. He's out. He's getting out. We're getting out. There's another rule. It says if you see the giant making moves, what should you be doing? You should be making moves with them. You should be doing what they do. Ask questions later, but it's time to move now. All right, just like the Jurassic Park. When they first stepped foot on the island and they saw the birds and the dinosaurs running in the opposite direction, what should they have done instead of standing there like, wow, this is so neat. Look at this cute. Oh, wow. No, you should have started running with the dinosaurs and you could have been asking questions while you're running with them. So why are we running? Oh, you didn't know? There's a big Godzilla looking thing coming. Oh, okay. Thanks for the heads up, man. No, you don't stand there looking dumb. You start running. You start running. Well, Donald was running. The only thing he was going to hold was that one building. He said he was going to keep that one building, and everything else he was selling. He was going to sell the golf courses and all that. He was selling everything. And then I remember not long after that, he was on camera. I don't remember what the circumstances were, but I just remember him coming on camera saying, "Yeah, I can't make money here no more, man. I can't do nothing in America anymore. So I'm going overseas." I will never forget that. That's one thing I will never forget. And that's what he did. Next thing you know, you heard in the mainstream media, Donald Trump had sold the golf course or whatever. He was liquidating, just like he said he was going to do. When I got that call, it said I got the call months before that, said he was liquidating. When the mainstream media made it known to the world what he was doing, he was already done. He was already out. It was old news. So it wasn't until 2008 when the truth, was revealed. But by that time, the elite were already out of the market. And some of them literally left the country. They didn't just take their business out of the country. They left the country. They moved. All right. So people who were, quote unquote, in the game, thinking they was Trump, they wasn't. They were terrible students of Trump because they didn't do what he did. When you see the master get out, you should be out. You should be out. He's not in there. You're in there. What are you doing? You're an idiot. Dude, there were people, I remember, I will never forget this too. I actually knew someone that had 50 houses and they got caught. They got caught out there looking stupid with 50 homes. And there was another one that had like 220 or 250 homes. And they were begging people to take them houses. And nope, they went belly up. There was so much going on at that time. So anyway, that's how the House of Cards fell down, because I got that call in 2007 that said, in 2007 said, okay, the hedge funds are closing up. They're closing their doors. They're no longer taking this paper. And then around the same time too, it was an odd thing. I didn't know it yet. I didn't find out until later. But was the Federal Reserve? I knew it came from Freddie and Fannie first. That's how I heard it. But there was something weird happening at the Federal Reserve level, and they were starting to change a little bit. I tell you what I mean. All right, at one point, the paper was just flying, right? All these new mortgage deals coming out, and a lot of people were being backed by Freddie and Fannie. Freddie and Fannie was like, hey, yeah, you can write that paper. Go ahead and write it. We got you. We'll back you. Don't worry about it. We got it. But then one day, it was odd, around the same time I got those calls saying the game was over, they sent out a mass thing saying, okay, we're going to start back charging companies now on some of these loans. All right, let me explain to you what that means. Okay, so I'm a lender, right? All I do is mortgage paper, right? I hang up my shingle. We're open for business. We're writing loan. I'm writing all these loans. Well, once you close them and they're done, where does the loans go? You package it up together, and you sell it back to Freddie and Fannie. They take them. You sell them to them. You do the loans, and then you sell it to him. You give them to them. It was no problem for a long time. Then all of a sudden, you got the call from them saying, "Look at here. We're starting to have problems with some of this paper y'all writing. So we're going to make you buy it back." Yes, for those of you who are not in the game, who are unaware of that, they made them buy it back. Freddie and Fannie was making the banks buy the loans back from them. That was the beginning of the credit crisis. That's what the credit crisis was. People were still writing these loans and writing the paper because on the left side they was telling everybody keep writing, we got you. But on the right hand side, they was like, yo, if I was you, I would get out of the loan business right now. Stop writing mortgages. I'm not kidding. It was double speak just like that. So that's why a lot of people stayed in until 2008, still going like nothing has changed. But what they didn't know is all that paper they were writing, it wasn't going to the hedge funds anymore. It wasn't going to Wall Street no more. Freddie and Fannie was just sitting on them, and then they start kicking them back out to everybody. It was a mess. I will never forget it. So when that happened, folks, that's when people stopped paying the loan. They couldn't pay the mortgages anymore, and all this stuff just started happening. These arms started adjusting on people. They couldn't pay the mortgage. All right. So technically speaking, just so you guys know, and I hope you're listening, the straw that broke the camel's back in the mortgage crisis, during the mortgage crisis, was the A paper loans, because those are the only people who could get the ARMs. The ARMs, the adjustable rate mortgages, was not for no subprime. You couldn't get them. The A paper is what broke the market and what caused the housing crisis of 2008. They couldn't pay when those rates started adjusting. Because you would think, how is it that people, if you can pay, if your rent in your apartment is $1,000 a month, right? And after you pay your rent, you have all this money left over to live. You have enough money where you can put money in savings and stuff, and you got money you can go on vacation. How is it that you can't afford to pay the mortgage on the house where your mortgage is only $1,200? You are paying $1,000 a month, fine. $1,200 is an extra $200, which you do have in disposable income. So why are you not able to pay your mortgage? It doesn't make any sense. How do you stop paying your mortgage? We did not have a job crisis during that time, folks. Don't let them lie to you when they rewrite history. There was no job crisis during that time. People were gainfully employed. They were gainfully employed. People didn't lose jobs during the housing crisis. What was lost was people's homes. People were losing their homes. They weren't going to the unemployment line. They were losing their homes, folks. They were losing their homes. It was a homeless problem in 2008, not a job crisis. Now I know someone's going to dispute me and say, "Well, no, Mr. Vulcan, Mr. Vulcan, nope, gotcha, I gotcha." I have statistics here from the Department of Commerce. I got the U.S. jobless claims numbers from this time, and it says here the unemployment rate was going through the roof. It was thousands and thousands of jobs being lost. That's why it was a financial crisis. Wrong. All of those job losses stated during that time were people in the industry. People who were loan officers, those were the ones being laid off, and the people that were involved in the mortgage game. Those banks were going out of business. Every, and I do mean every mortgage lender, every mortgage lender. Let me say it again for those that don't understand. Every, that means everybody. Every mortgage lender went out of business and went belly up during the 2008 financial crisis. Well over 300 banks, let that sink in, went belly up. If I started running names off, you wouldn't even know who I was talking about. I never even heard of that. What was that? I never heard of that. Yeah, I know you didn't. Yes, over 300. And really, I think it was more than that. I think they were just talking about like some of the big umbrella banks that came out of the Big Ten banks. Like Bank of America may have had, 5 mortgage lenders underneath their umbrella. They were separate from the Bank of America, so they don't count that. You see what I'm saying? Yeah, they had a lot of slick stuff like that. Like Washington Mutual, WAMU, you know that was famous, and the only reason why you know it and it's in your psyche is because Magic Johnson, they ran into a deal with him where they could use his name. They made you think that he actually went into business with them and had his own centers, and that was a lie. That was a lie. He was not running any of those centers. How do you know? You don't know that. Actually, yeah, I do know that. I have it. I know it personally on good authority. Yeah, I know it. I won't go into all of that, but I know it's a fact. He was not there. He didn't. If he showed up for a photo op, it was only for a photo op to push the marketing agenda. But he was not working there. You could not just walk into the branch in his neighborhood and see him behind a desk. No, sir, no, ma'am. It wasn't like that. It was a lie. He licensed his name to them. They made it look like he was running some facilities. It was a lie. Anyway, back on point. So that's what pricked the bubble, folks. It was the adjustable rate mortgages. People couldn't pay them. They couldn't pay it when the rate started adjusting. It took them out of their price range. So yeah, they could afford the $1,200 a month. It's only $200 more, and you get a home. And you have equity. But what got them in trouble was the rate started adjusting. It wasn't $1,200 anymore. $1,200 became $1,500, became $1,800, became $2,200. And they couldn't do it. Couldn't hack it. All right. That's what happened during the 2008 financial crisis. It was not a financial crisis. It was a mortgage crisis, and people want to blame it on the subprime. You blame it on the peasants. You blame it on the serfs. You blame it on, the poor people. It's their fault. See why poor people are poor and why they can't have nothing? Because they don't pay their bills. Don't ever let them get up again. Don't ever let them get a comeuppance again. Don't ever let them thrive again. That's why there'll never be another mortgage situation like that. Now you ask me, now you're gonna say, well, why would the government do that? Why would the Federal Reserve and Freddie and Fannie, why would they even do that? Why would they do that? That doesn't make any sense. That's ridiculous. You're making this up. Am I? Okay. You want to know why they did it? All right. Where are my economists in the live chat? Where y'all at? Y'all can back me up on this. Why did they bubble up the real estate industry at that time? I'll tell you why. They did it to prop up the economy. If there was no 2008 mortgage crisis, if there was no 2008 financial crisis, I want you to hear this good, folks. We probably wouldn't be doing this live stream today because there wouldn't have been in the United States. What you don't know is that after 9/11, we had a back-to-back crisis. The 2000 internet bubble, when that bursted, it created chaos. The country was in a recession and it was deepening. When 9/11 happened, that was the straw that broke the camel's back. The United States of America went bankrupt on 9/11. Bankrupt in every way that a person or a company or a country can be bankrupt. They went bankrupt. I want you to hear me. They went back. 9/11 wasn't all what you think it was. It served multi-purposes. The first purpose was to annihilate the United States financially, and it did. That's why they closed the markets. When have you ever known them to close the markets in the middle of the trading day? And not just the New York Stock Exchange. When I say markets, I'm saying all of the markets. Has anyone ever thought about that? All the markets worldwide shut down. There was no forex, there was no futures, no commodities, no equities, no options. Nothing was moving. They busted every trade, millions of trades, billions of shares. Poof, up in dust, as if it never happened. They busted every trade. For the layman, the word busted means to delete, means to erase, means it never happened. According to Wall Street, 9/11 never happened. There is no data for 9/11. There is no skew for 9/11. There's no ticker. There's no price. There's no opening price. There's no high. There's no low. There's no closing price. There's no data. The day has been erased from financial history. Correct, Kyle? It has been erased from financial history. It never happened. If they did not do that, if they did not trick and fool the American people that the country was broke, it was beyond depression. It wasn't a depression. It was over. It was analogous to Russia falling in 1992. Seriously. It was over. It was over. We would have had martial law, tanks rolling down the street, literally. I'm serious. It would have been chaos. It would have been Beirut up in here. So they came up with a scheme. They said, okay, this is what we're going to do. And they already had this plan, by the way. They said, this is what we're going to do. We're going to close the market. We're going to erase everything like it never happened. We're going to bust every trade. And then we're going to reopen in a week. And this is what we're going to do. We're going to run ads on television and radio. And we're going to run these ads for the rest of the year. Okay, we're going to run it for the rest of the year. The ads are going to be all about nationalism and American pride and, God bless the USA. Okay? And we're gonna spur a furor of patriotism in the American people. And we're gonna shame anyone who shorts the market. And not only are we gonna shame them, but we're gonna make commercials saying how unpatriotic it is to short America. You're not patriotic if you're shorting America. But we're not just going to rely on the psyche of the American people with these ads and commercials. No, we're going to go a step further. We're going to put pretty much every blue chip stock, every Fortune 500 company, we're going to put them on the do not short list, meaning that you won't be able to short them even if you wanted to, because they're going to be on a restricted list. So they're restricted, they protected, you're talking about protectionism ratcheted up to 100. All right. So you couldn't short those stocks, even if you wanted to. And we're going to make it unpatriotic if you do. We're going to say you're not patriotic. But then in doing so, we're going to make it so that you can't short anywhere. And then you had your uptick rule enforced. All right. You had to deal with that. Then around the same time, that's when they had the Patriot Act, and they start rolling out these other rules, and they made it so that those people who were involved in the day trading firms, they put every day trading firm out of business. All right. They put them out of business. I want you to hear what I just said. Every day trading firm, every day trading office, the one that you would go into. See, there was a time, folks, before Starbucks, there was a day trading firm. There was a storefront day trading outfit that looked like a Starbucks you could walk into, sit down at a cubicle and start trading stocks. All you have is $500? No problem. You can trade your favorite stocks all day long and make a career out of it, day trading your favorite stocks for $500. All right? There was no pattern day trade rule, none of that. They put those people out of business by coming up with the pattern day trade rule. The pattern day trade rule had nothing to do with the Patriot Act, but they put it in there anyway. And then they enforced it. They made it so that you couldn't short. They had to save the country. So what else did they do? Because that wasn't enough. That was not enough, folks. They realized this was a short-term thing to keep the country running for a couple of months, but they needed to do something else. So they got together and they came up with an idea. They said, since the markets are destroyed, the only thing we can do now is, why don't we pump up the real estate market? That's what we'll do. We'll do real estate. And that worked for a long time. That worked from around, I want to say there was like this, there was a transition period between 2001 and 2003. There was a transition period getting the real estate game ready. So the real estate market ran from 2003 until 2008. So you had a 5-year plan, which was to get the company back to where it was pre 9/11, and they had 5 years to do it, and they did it. The mortgage scandal was what kept the economy afloat for 5 years. All right, if there was no mortgage catastrophe, if they didn't plan and do that, there wouldn't have been an economy. People had already said, you know what, we've been burned. We're never going to buy stocks ever again in life. So the liquidity in the stock market dried up. There was that game was dead for a minute. All right. Then they destroyed Wall Street in the process. They restructured and revamped Wall Street. All those brokers lost their jobs. If you were a stockbroker, that was analogous to being a burger flipper. You were actually hated. Also, you were hated. Anyone who was connected to Wall Street was also hated and villainized during this time. You have to understand that. All right. So because around this time, around the 9/11 time, between 2000 and 2003, there were so many scandals that were exposed on Wall Street. So many firms were going under. Remember, you had Enron, you had Tyco, you had WorldCom, you had so much scandal going on, and the trust of the American people with the markets was lost. So there was a lot going on during this time. So what they had to do is they had to come up with another scheme, and that was the real estate game. And so people started getting a ray of hope again. As soon as the first millionaire was minted through the new real estate scandal, everyone thought they could do it. They said, oh, people were quitting their jobs and becoming real estate, people, and becoming loan officers and all this other stuff, and it created a whole new thing. That was the job creation. But they were like, how are we going to create jobs? When the internet bubble thing bursted, it hurt. It broke the economy. And then 9/11 just was the icing on the cake. That just destroyed everything that was left. So the real estate game was the only thing that kept all of this going, folks. That was it. Now, this presentation today was special, and it was needed because I had to give you the background of where we've come from so that you'll know where we're going next. Remember, there's always a bubble somewhere. We're either in the process of a bubble, coming out of a bubble, or about to start a new bubble. That's how it always goes. So you're in a bubble just popped, or you're getting ready to be in a bubble. And right now we're in the stage now we're bubble free, but we're going to start a new bubble. And right now, no one really knows what that is because that hasn't been revealed yet. We're at that quiet time. We're back to 2000, between 2001 and 2003 again. We're in this black hole, this black forest of where do we go now? All right, the market game, that bubble has already been popped, right? So you can't go there traditionally. I'm talking about, the whole investment scheme, the buy and hold thing. That's been destroyed again. You can't go to real estate right now. That's dead. So you're in a situation now where you got real estate and stocks are both dead at the same time. Where do you go now? Where do you put your money? Where do you put your money? Here's the answer. For a lot of people, they were filtering money into bonds, right? Because the Fed has been the only one buying bonds for the last decade. All right, that's what's been happening. But then that was destroyed. They took that away from you because interest rates have been kept at zero. So they took your equity market dream away from you, where you could buy XYZ portfolio of stocks, and then when it's time to retire, you have millions of dollars. They took that away from you. They took the real estate thing away from you. They told people that if you buy a house today, the appreciation of that house when your time to retire is going to be, you'll be rich and you'll have all this equity and you'll be good to go. So they took that away. So stocks are dead. Bonds are now dead with the zero coupons, zero rates. Real estate is dead, right? They took that. So they took that from you. I hope you guys are following me. I'm painting a picture here. Follow me down this dark road. Equities, dead. Bonds, dead. Real estate, dead. All right? I'm going to hurt some feelings now with these next two. Don't get mad at me. What they say, hate the game, don't hate the player. Gold and silver bugs, they kicked you in the face. They took that from you. It's been exposed that JP Morgan and company have been sitting on gold and silver prices forever, fixing the market, manipulating that market. They won't let it rise. Based on all the debt and all the stimulus that the government has done over the past 10 years, gold should be around $5,000 to $10,000 an ounce today. All right? But it's not. They took your precious metals away from you too. There has been no asset appreciation, not truly, in those markets. I know what you're going to say. I already hear you. You're a nut. You don't know what you're talking about. Over the last 12 months, gold has outperformed the stock market. I'm not talking about that. You know what I'm talking about. You know it, and I know it. Gold should not be in those $1,700 an ounce today. Gold should already be at minimum, worst case scenario, 2,500. And you and I know it. We both know it. We both know it. Silver should be at least 50. You know it, and I know it. We don't even have to go there. We don't have to have no long discussion about it. You know it. So they took that from you. So your stocks are gone. Your bonds are gone. Your real estate's gone. Your gold and silver appreciation is gone. It's been muted. So we have a brave new world. Cryptocurrencies. In walks Bitcoin. I'm for the people, of the people, by the people. Oh, all right. No central bank. No centralization going on. Bitcoin crypto. Bitcoin goes to 20,000. Oh my goodness, I'm rich. You have people on YouTube, Bitcoin Millionaire channel. Welcome to the Bitcoin Millionaire channel. Then something happened. Something unthinkable. Something otherworldly. Say it ain't so. Bitcoin falls from 20,000 down to 3,000. So now they've taken that away from you too. No stocks, no bonds, no real estate, no precious metals, and no crypto. Every exit has been closed off. Every exit. You have nowhere to go. Where's the next bubble coming from? That is a big question mark. We don't know. Anyone who claims that they know is lying, or they have an inside connection with the illuminated ones. And right now, ain't nobody talking. We don't know where that next bubble's coming from. We don't know. There is going to be this interim period, ladies and gentlemen, an interim period between now and then, where it seems like all is quiet. We don't know what's going on. The coronavirus situation has everybody in a fog. You can't see your hand in front of your face. This coronavirus thing is weird, and it's in your face. You can't call it. You can't see it. No, I just said they took your metals away. Your precious metals are gone. They're done. They're not rallying. They won't let the market move. The market is not the free market right now. They're sitting on it. It's not out of control. It's not out of control. It's moving the way they want it to move, when they want it to move. Not only how they want it, but when they want it. We ain't got to like it and accept it, but it is true. So where is the next bubble? They've made it so at this point, at this stage, that there's no such thing as the little man getting rich easily like it was before. It's not going to be easy. They're taking your jobs away. Coronavirus is like the NASDAQ bubble bursting in 2000. It's like 9/11. It's like the 2008 housing crisis, all rolled into one. This one thing is having the effect of all three of those other things put together. It's wrecking the economy globally. And when you do that as a one-stop shop, it's killing everything. It's killing everything. It's killing your jobs. It's killing everything. Even right now, I'm ashamed of you, Bloomberg. Breaking news: WTI oil sinks as May futures expire. That's not news. That is not news. They never play you a clip of a futures contract expiring and telling you what the price is and making it news. That's not news. And it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't affect anything. Why don't you tell people where the spot price is? It's not $11. It's not $14. It's not $15. Tell people the truth. Front month is what is important, not an expired contract. All right? So anyway, I want you to hear what I am saying to you so that you could go into this fully armed and fully alert to your surroundings. They're not making it easy anymore. No more easy nothing. Because the government is the next bubble. They want you to rely on them 100%. They want to give you universal basic income. They're setting you up to receive it and to like it and to want it and beg for it. Right now, what is the number one pastime today? Right now, what is the number one pastime on April the 20th, 2020, Monday? What is today's number one pastime? Looking for the government check. It's so bad it broke the internet these last couple of days. Banking websites were they couldn't keep pace. It was too many people going at the website at the same time looking for that check. Nope, people were not out gardening. They weren't home playing checkers with each other. They weren't watching movies, Netflix and chill. No. They were crashing banking websites looking for that government check. That is the number one pastime right now. And if that ain't enough, now next month they want to give everybody $2,000. See the incrementalism involved here? What is that? That's called universal basic income. That is where we are. Universal basic income. They're preparing you for that. because they're going to take the jobs away. They don't want you having a safe haven. They don't want you having it. So they're trying to price you out and get you disgusted with everything else, because nothing else is going to move for you like that. Government is the new bubble. All right, so then what is a person to do with all this revelation, all this information that you've been blazed with this morning? What do you do? Where do we go from here? What does it all mean? Well, it means that you have a choice. It means that either you're going to just be fine with, okay with the government taking care of you and feeding you. That's what that means. Are you now understand that puts you on a limited income, a fixed income. You won't be able to make more than that, because how are you going to do it with no job? Traditionally, you've been told that the only way for you to derive income is by working for someone, i.e., making someone else rich. When you have a job, when you work for someone, you're helping that person to build wealth. You don't get to participate in the wealth. Your quote unquote job is to make them wealthier. Make no mistake, if a Fortune 500 company hires you, it's because they have derived some type of value from your labor. Your labor equals profits for the company. You're a producer. You're producing profits for them in exchange for a pittance, which is an unlivable wage. So either you're going to make someone else rich or you're going to make yourself rich. How do you make yourself rich? You will never be rich working for someone. I don't care how much they pay you. You will never get wealthy working for someone else, because it's the wealth rule. You're either laboring to make someone else wealthy or you're laboring to make yourself wealthy. How in the world am I going to do that in a depression? I'm glad you asked. Here's how you do that. It's called learning the Federal Reserve's game. Because right now, they're the only ones that get to play it. The Federal Reserve and the elites that run the world. All right? They're the only ones that get to play. The central banks get to play. The elite, they get to play. They play every day, all day. And they keep the average person in the dark. The people are in the dark to what the elites of the world are doing. All right? They've been doing it to you all your life. You just never knew it. Who do you think finances your education? They do. Why would they be so generous as to finance your education? Because said institutions are equipping you with their propaganda. All right? It's their propaganda. The universities proliferate the propaganda of the elite so that you are completely and utterly brainwashed. Why do you think the pharmaceutical industrial complex owns all of the medical schools? Yeah. Without their money, the medical schools wouldn't exist. Why do you think they're giving all this money to the medical schools and funding them? Because they're nice? Because they're loving? No. Because the medical school has agreed to push their agenda, to push their propaganda. So now when you go to medical school, you're not learning how to heal anything. You're learning how to write prescriptions for the pharmaceutical company that funded your education. All right? That is the world we live in, folks. If you want to get out from underneath of that, now, like ever before, the only way you're going to be able to do it is to learn their game and beat them at their own game, play in their sandbox. See, for you, for the average person, you view the markets as broken. Equities, it's not working. Buy and hold is not working. I bought this stock at $50 a share. Now it's $13 a share, and I'm retiring next week. What has happened? I don't understand. Wall Street lied to me. Yes, they did. All right. We have had a price depreciation, a rapid one from the all-time highs. So if you are buying and holding and your time horizon is now to start drawing from your nest egg, from your retirement, well, guess what? You're done. Game over for you. All right. If you got into that real estate game thinking that when it was time for you to retire, you would have all this equity in your house and you could do things and you were going to do this and do that, you got this too. You're done. If you were those people that said, well, hey, I've always been safe. I wasn't speculative like those other fools risking their life savings. Nah, I bought all these bonds. Well, your coupons have come due, and all the government did was give you back the money that you paid to buy the bonds. You have received no interest. I'm so sorry. And your dollar has not kept up with the price of inflation. You're done. So far you've been sniped from afar. The government just smoked the long-term buy and hold dude. They just smoked the real estate dude. They smoked the bond dude. Well, I've been stacking gold and silver, so I'm good to go. But your price has been suppressed. The price that it was supposed to be at, now that you're about to retire, is not. So you have lost at least half of your money too. Well, I bought Bitcoin. Yeah, but unfortunately for you, Bitcoin is standing at 7,100 right now. It was at 20,000. So you got robbed too because you didn't get out at 20,000. So you won't be able to afford to buy that yacht either. So much for your happy days retirement. They have destroyed everyone's method mode of retirement because you listened to them and did what they told you to do. You didn't understand the game. All right, here we go. Are you ready? I'm going to tell you the bank's game. You got to beat the bank at their own game, folks. Just because you got smoked, the avenues aren't going anywhere. Equities aren't going anywhere. Commodity futures, forex, it's not going nowhere. The crypto market is here to stay too. It's not going anywhere either. It's not going to go out of existence. Real estate isn't going out of existence either because at the end of the day, people still need a roof over their heads. So all these avenues of wealth generation, they haven't gone anywhere. It's just that what you were propagandized to believe about these instruments has been your ending. It's been your undoing. You've been lied to, tricked, deceived. The only way to get it back, because it's not too late, the only way to get it back is to learn the mode and method of dealing with those avenues of wealth generation. And I'm here to tell you that what they have been using and kept from you is the algos. All of those things that I just finished talking about are based on certain algorithms. They're based on electronic communications setups, and they move the same exact identical way. Everything that I just said to you has a representative in the equities markets. Most people are unaware of that. Everything has been translated into the equity market. Please hear what I'm saying to you. You're a real estate guy. There's a ticker for that. There's an ETF for that. Well, I like precious metals. Sorry, that's what I do. There's an ETF for that too. Well, I only do crypto, so I don't know what you're talking about. Well, there's an ETF for that too. Well, I'm an old commodities guy, so I stick to what I can put in the ground and take out of the ground and eat. Well, there's an ETF for that too. Everything has been co-opted by the equity markets. There's an ETF now for every industry you can think of. Well, hey, I don't know what none of y'all talking. I'm a beach bum. I surf all day and smoke weed. There's also an ETF for that too. As a matter of fact, it's called weed. That's the symbol for just one of them. Yeah. So what is the game? The game is everything has switched to an algorithmic process, and that information is being kept from the general public. They will not reveal it to you because they don't want you to have it. If you had access to the algorithmic process, you would have been able to get out at the top of each market without getting smoked. But because you don't have it, you get smoked. You don't know when the turns are coming, when the tide is changing, because they don't want you to know it. It's a closely guarded secret. They don't teach it. They don't teach it in any university on the planet. They laugh at people who think they know. They come out of Oxford or Harvard or Yale or Brown. They laugh at those guys. Oh, you got your degree in finance. You got a degree in economics. You think you know something? You know nothing. Nothing. You know nothing. I work with those guys. I worked with the laser physicists at NASA. I work with these guys. I work with the Mensa members. I work with them. And I'm here to tell you, they know nothing. They don't teach this in any of those schools. There's no exam anywhere for what I have just told you. There's no question on the Series 7 exam about the algorithmic process that the Federal Reserve uses. You won't find that question on the Series 3 commodities exam either. You also won't find that if you're setting for your CPA exam for those accountants out there. There's no, that question's not on the test. It's not on the test. It's not on the test. They're not going to teach it to you. Well, I'm a computer programmer. I got a degree in computer technologies, or I write code. I write algorithms. I'm hired. That's what I do. I build systems. I write the code. I write these codes and stuff. And you're just as ignorant as everyone else. You were hired to do a job, but you don't understand the process behind the job that you did. I know that for a fact. It's called compartmentalization. They hire several people to do different things. Each person is unaware of what they're doing or the outcome of what they're doing or how what they're doing is even going to be used. Case in point, have I not proven it over the years that just because something exists, it doesn't mean that's the way it was truly intended to be used, and or there is a secret behind it for using it that you don't know about? Yep. That's what I'm trying to tell you guys, okay? There is a secret that they have kept from people for a long time, and only the elite know it. Why do you think they're able to do things, and why do you think they do things before everyone else does? And if you're in the know, then you can follow their lead, but that's about it. But you yourself don't know. That's why I started PulseWave trading, because I got tired of watching the ungodly process that the banks were doing to people. Pretty much every problem on the planet, every human problem on the planet comes from the banks, comes from the central banking system. The central banking system is responsible for all the wars, all the disease, all the famine. They're responsible for everything. 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 The central banks own it all. They own every government on the planet. And they're told what to do and how to program the people. And they are They're excellent. You think you can break away from the matrix? You're wrong. Even when you wake up from the matrix, you're still in the matrix. There's no escaping the matrix. You can't. You are going to operate in it whether you like it or not. The question is, how are you going to do with the information that you got? All right? Yeah, Nathan, we're saying the same thing, just in a different way. That's what I said. They want you ignorant. Yes, they want you ignorant. Yeah, that's what they do. The people are fodder for the elites. They want you operating without the understanding. That's what they want. They want you in the equity market with no understanding. They want you in the real estate game without understanding. They want you buying bonds with no understanding. They want you in real estate and cryptos and everything else under the sun. They want you in all those things because you're providing the fodder for them. All right. And they use that to fund the wars and fund all the other dark things that they do behind the curtain. That's right. And the more they get you indebted to them, the more they control you. They want you in there unaware. But what happens when you're armed? Knowledge can be dangerous if you don't have the wisdom to know how to use the knowledge. All right. Wisdom is what you need because you cannot escape it. You're going to be in the paradigm whether you like it or not. The only question is, are you going to be awake while you're in there, or are you going to be asleep like everybody else? That's why I started PulseWave trading, so that you can see exactly what it is they're doing and you can do it too, so that you won't be like the majority of people looking crazy, wondering where their next meal is coming from. Now, this is for you guys that have been with PulseWave trading, and you can speak to this and attest to it. Those of you in the live stream too. All right. Have you ever thought, wow, man, these PulseWaves are really accurate. How does he know this stuff? Have you noticed that it's almost like on some days that I'm bending the market to my will? But I'm gonna be honest with you, I'm not. It's that I know what they're doing because there was once upon a time that I was licensed and hired to do that for them. That's how I know. That's how come my price trigger reports are so ridiculously accurate. That's why. All right. Yes, Thunderbird, you're right. They only get rich by stealing someone else's labor. So what I'm basically trying to say in a roundabout way, why don't you get rich off your own labor? Why don't you learn what it is they don't want you to know, so that when you get into these avenues, because you can't escape it, you're going to be on these avenues one way or another, whether you like it or not. So you better learn it and know how to move in it so that you can prosper. Don't let the elites get rich off of your labor. Either you're making someone else rich or you're going to make yourself rich. I think it's better for you to make yourself rich. Learn how to navigate these markets correctly. All right. Why are you buying when they're crashing the market? Is that not an idiot move? That'll be analogous to standing in the middle of the street right as the speeding truck is coming. That would be insane, right? No, when you're crossing the street, you let the truck pass first, then you can cross the street. You don't time it so that you get right in front of the truck right as it's about to smack into your body. That's stupid. But see, that's what they've taught you to do. They've taught you to play in traffic instead of stepping aside. All right? Isn't it a lot easier if you want to get on the bus? Isn't it easier rather than just stepping out in front of the bus and getting killed? Isn't it better just to stand on the side of the road at the bus stop? Because if you do that, the bus will stop for you and let you get on the bus if you wait for it at the bus stop. That's the correct way if you want to get on the bus. The other way will kill you. The right way will get you to your destination where you're going. You got to learn how to navigate these markets, man, and take control of your own labor. Well said, Nathan. That's exactly what I'm saying. You got to learn how to navigate these markets and take control of your own labor. Make yourself rich, not somebody else. PulseWaveTrading.com is where you start that process. Get on the road. Get on the yellow brick road, Dorothy. You got to. That's the only thing that's going to save y'all. I'm telling you now. You got to know this. You got to get on these price. You got to get with the price triggers. All right. The way this censorship thing is going to, I hope and pray it don't, but one day it might. You know, what if I'm not allowed to be on social media no more? What if they get away? How would you find me? The way to do that is to get on board now, so you don't have to worry about how you find me. You already know where I'm at. That's why we got PulseWaveTrading.com. That's why we got the free account set up, so you can get started with us. We literally take you by the hand and show you how to make money for free. Who else is doing that? We're doing it for free. Every week, I show you a security. Sometimes it's a crypto. Sometimes it's forex. It could be anything. And we show you step by step every single day. This is how we do this. We're doing it in real time right in front of you. We're letting you do it with us for free. We're showing you how to navigate the matrix every week for free, so you can see how it's done. And then what do? Like the idiots we are, we say you can get started trading with us for $69 a month. $69 a month. That's it. 6,900 pennies a month. You can learn how to do this. And now you have access to all the markets. Not just the little free thing we do every week, so you can see how we roll. All right? So we're not just talking about it, we be about it. I'm showing you that it is possible to do this on a consistent basis. And not just do it, but to make money consistently with it. While other people are losing money and complaining about it, you are making money. And then now you can pay it forward and tell friends and family that you love and concerned about, hey, you ain't got to struggle no more either. Why don't you come over here to PulseWave Trading with me? Why don't we do this together? Now you're helping someone else, pulling people out of poverty, pulling people out of hopelessness. That's what this is about, folks. Not many people will do that for you. Some people, they want to charge you tens of thousands of dollars in trading courses. And then at the end of the course, you're just as confused as before you came there. Still ain't consistently making money. Why go through all of that? You don't need to go through all of that. Just come on over here, PulseWaveTrading.com, learn how to do this. All right, I've talked until my throat is dry. So I'm done for now. I've told you the truth behind the bubble economy. The United States and now the global world, since we're a global landscape now, it's a bubble economy that we live in. It will always be a bubble economy, one bubble at a time. When one pops, another one develops. And you want to be in a position to know that before it happens and what you can do and how to navigate it correctly. So this time, if Bitcoin goes to 20,000 and drops back down to 3,000, You not one of them people looking stupid. You saying, hey, I wrote it this time, and oh, by the way, I wrote it down too. So I made money as the price was falling, as I made money when it was going up. You want to be that dude. All right? You don't want to be the other ones. Okay? The bubble economy. Frank, that's what I want the title of this to be. This episode is called The Bubble Economy. Go ahead and make that happen for me. The bubble economy. Learning how to navigate the bubble economy. Because the next bubble is coming and you want to be ready for it. All right? Nah, I haven't seen that documentary, Fall of the Cabal. All right, I'm gonna look into it. I'll make a note. I am so behind. I am so behind the queue right now on my news and documentaries. So I'll put that on the list. I have so much that I need to see that I've been behind because I've been in the lab, and today is no different. I'm being in the lab today too. I'm doing a another update, and this is going to be on the weekly triggers, the weekly price trigger. I need to do an install an update. This update, this install update, you probably won't notice a difference or anything, but it's just to iron it out and make things a little bit smoother. So anyway, that's probably what I'll be doing today if I get a chance. So today's episode was navigating the bubble economy and understanding what that means in the future. If I can remember it, part 2 will be an update to the Federal Reserve versus the blockchain and the central banks versus the cryptos. I think I'm going to have to do a part 2 to that. Today we dealt with the bubble economy and the roots of that and how that went down. And then I think we will go and we'll do another part of it. A whole nother part can be done though. And I could have said a lot more, and this probably would have took all day because we didn't talk about the hard money loan aspect of things either. That's the Tony Soprano side of the real estate game, and that is a very real thing too. That's not just some movie or TV show. The Tony Soprano thing is real, and it is not new. It's old, and it's still going on today. And I didn't get a chance to go into that, but I have some amazing stories with that too, and what that's all about, and how you could have been part of it without even realizing it. So yeah, one day I'll go into depth on that too. Last but not least, I'll see you guys in the trading room. I got to get a grocery list together for the trading room. I have not put one in there today because I am flat. I'm on the sidelines right now. I wanted to start this week fresh. That's why I liquidated my long positions, and I'm glad I did on Friday, or else I would have woke up this morning with the Dow being down 500. See, that's why I like listening to the rules. It's not just the reports, but it's the rules that go with the reports that I stick to as well as you should. All right, I'm out of here. Remember, bulls make money, bears make money, and pigs get slaughtered. So remember to take what you can and give nothing back. And I'm out. Peace.